TYT Sports, everybody. Week 16 in the NFL season. Turks and Jerks. Ben Mankiewicz and Jason Rubin is here. Our producer's sitting at the big desk. Jason, welcome. Nice. Who's your Turk?
I have a few. I have some honorable mentions before we get to the actual Turk. The actual Turk is Marshawn Lynch, and we'll get to that for many, many reasons. But the first one is Kenny Albert rocking a Christmas sweater. That is probably the best Christmas sweater I've seen out of ugly Christmas sweater season. And I don't know why ugly Christmas sweater season became a thing, and now there's holiday parties with ugly Christmas sweaters. But let's take a look at the picture, the screenshot that we have of the ugly Christmas sweater. There we go. So at first glance, there's nothing too out there about it, but when we zoom in, carrot placement. Snowman on the left. Kudos to you, Kenny Albert.
Right, he got that past the Fox
he
censors.
Got it past.
Is he with? Who's he with? Is Daryl Johnston his partner?
I believe so.
Daryl Johnston was a nice football player.
Yes.
Daryl Johnston is not a broadcaster. Never has been. Not a lick better than he was when he started. He probably has it in him. Stop being so safe. Stop being so safe.
That's a trend.
Stop praising everybody. Stop working to the middle. That's what you're doing. Say something interesting. Say something bold. Don't think every decision is the right one. Not every decision is the correct one. Not every ref's call is the right one. Look at the replay before you decide what you're about to see. It's okay to criticize these guys. It's okay to criticize the players and the coaches and the referees. And the one criticism of the referees that guys like Daryl Johnston are comfortable making is I wish they'd let the players decide it. Like, well, they would let the players decide it, except that guy on a pass grabbed the receiver's shirt, preventing him from making the catch. So I don't think you should let the players decide that.
We've seen the same thing with Phil Simms, with Chris Collinsworth. This safety is a trend that we've seen in broadcasting.
I believe Daryl Johnston
for years.
He's probably a really nice guy, and he may well work really hard. And I don't know him personally.
So you're basically saying grow a pair?
But there's no one worse. There's no one worse. And Fox seems to like him, and that's all that matters. But man, his fight to say stuff that brings you to the middle of empty vanilla nothingness is remarkable. Just listen to your old teammate Troy Aikman and see the difference. That's the difference. Is Troy Aikman is alive and present in the game that he is doing.
All right. Well, let's move forward.
By the way, terrible choice on Turk of the Week.
Oh, no. That was an honorable mention for Turk of the Week.
Right.
The other quick honorable mention, Larry Fitzgerald, for pass blocking, playing in a role that he's not normally doing. I like seeing players step up and play. Different than wanting to run downfield and catch the ball like he's used to doing. And with everything the Cardinals' injuries have had, everything that's Bruce Arians is somehow making this team still a playoff contender, even though they have no quarterback.
It showed yesterday.
It showed yesterday. But moving on to the Turk of the Week is Marshawn Lynch. We're going to ask Marshawn Lynch real quick what he thought about being Turk of the Week. Marshawn, how do you feel about being Turk of the Week this week?
Thanks, Fax. How about the stomach issue early in the game? I appreciate you asking about my stomach. Thank you. Marshawn, can you just...
Ben, how about those Skittles mid-show? Was your stomach upset when that happened?
Thank you for asking about the Skittles.
Thank you for axing.
Well, that we don't care about. It's funny, Marshawn Lynch is getting some grief, but he's there's nobody I almost appreciate that more than, well, I just tried to do all I can on that run and gave 110%. My teammates made some great blocks, and we scored touchdowns together and we failed together. Like, I'd rather have this.
Right.
I'd rather have this, but those guys get a pass. Like, nobody criticizes them.
You have to be creative.
You just be honest. Just give an honest answer.
You have to be the anti-Colin Kaepernick in that situation where,
Colin Kaepernick, man. Lead. And by the way, Colin Kaepernick, you could throw, when we get to Jerks of the Week, I didn't, but you could include a little Jim Harbaugh there for some really atrocious play calling there at the end of that game to let the Chargers back in. All right, so, but a great run. His longest run from scrimmage ever for Marshawn Lynch, but his second most famous run from scrimmage. Of course, nothing topping
beast mode. Yeah. He deserves that nickname, especially and I believe it's the holding the dick celebration into the end zone.
The 2010 run there to beat interestingly enough, remember, to beat the Saints and
a huge upset.
A huge upset because the Seahawks, I believe, were 7-9.
Yeah.
But playing at home, so whoever has to go in and play the Falcons, assuming that the Falcons win, or the Panthers, but likely the Falcons, seeing as they're home, and has to play them, and they'll be 7-9. or the Panthers at 7-8-1, you could obviously lose that game easily. Although I will tell you this, if the Cardinals end up as the 5 seed and obviously the NFC South winner is going to be the 4 seed, take the Cardinals, man. They're going to figure out a way to win that game.
Name that quarterback.
Probably Drew Stanton come playoff time. My Turk of the Week, I have a couple of nominees too. I'll run through them very quickly. First of all, my second choice for Turk of the Week is T.Y. Hilton, because guess what? Turns out he's the most important player in the NFL. Like Calvin Johnson, when he's not there in Detroit, all of a sudden Andrew Luck goes 15-22 for 109 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He doesn't even finish the game. The one touchdown they have in the game, thrown by Matt Hasselbeck, 42-0 Luck was down to the Cowboys. T.Y. Hilton with 82 catches and nearly 1,400 yards, over 16 yards a catch, apparently makes a huge difference in that offense. We knew it was big, but I don't think we knew it was that big.
You know, he catches the football.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of the Colts receivers yesterday afternoon, they dropped a lot of passes. The stat line doesn't reflect. Andrew Luck was still making beautiful passes. But yeah, I totally see your point on that one.
Yeah, man. But they came out of the game and they gave the ball to Dan Herron 3 times. It was puzzling. It was a puzzling game. That said, I had the Colts. I have the Colts in an over for the year. Each win they have is worth money to me. And I have the Cowboys in an under. Every loss they have is worth money to me. That was a huge, huge game not to win.
Remind me next year to take the opposite of your over and under.
I'm going to do okay this year, actually, overall. I mean, by the way, the Cowboys aren't, but the Colts went over. They're over 9.5. They already got it. So, but 12 wins would have been better than 11. 11 better than 10. So we'll see.
13
so, but my, I think I've named this guy a Turk of the Week before, but I'm going to do it again. Jerry Jones, and it's something for owners to think about. Owners who are ready to fire their coaches. There's a story today that the Falcons may dismiss Mike Smith whether they win the division or not. I'm not going to include Arthur Blank in that. He should go ahead and fire Mike Smith. But sticking with your coach pays off. And the Cowboys, they're not only 11-4, but you got Tony Romo playing the best football of his career, 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions in December. He's always been good in December. And sticking with Jason Garrett made a difference. And in the offseason, the unanimity from douchebags like me and Jason was loud. And it was that the Cowboys had a disastrous offseason, and Jason Garrett is a puppet of Jerry Jones, and their defense is terrible, and this nonsensical defensive coordinator situation they have with Rod Marinelli and Monty Kiffin can't possibly work, where one's the defensive coordinator, one's the assistant head coach defense. And then they decided to echo that problem on offense by splitting duties between Bill Callahan and Scott Linehan. Linehan with the passing game, and then Callahan with the offensive line, and there are for the running game. Like, how could this possibly work? And I don't know whether it's going to work long term, but it's working now. It's working this season. Although the Packers obviously are a contender to beat the Seahawks too. Right now, I feel like the Cowboys have the best opportunity to go into Seattle and win in the playoffs, because the Seahawks, if they win next week, if they beat the Rams, they'll have home field advantage throughout the playoffs unless something nuts happens, whereas the Cowboys win, the Seahawks lose, and the Packers and Lions tie. But that's probably not going to happen. So the Seahawks win, they'll have home field advantage, and we know that's almost a free pass to the Super Bowl. But I feel what the Cowboys have done this year, and they can control the game on the ground the way the Packers can't, as effectively, as consistently. I feel like what they've done is just remarkable, and we were in a position where everybody thought Jerry Jones didn't know what he was doing, and he has made us all, at least